Morales Fly Box. Today we're going to tie the Northwest Jack. I previously tied the Northwest Jack on the site. However, I thought the quality wasn't as good as I would like it to be, so we're going to redo it here. This is a very, very efficient pattern for me. I've had it with me since the early 90s. It was tied originally to duplicate salmon and steelhead smolt in the northwest rivers of Washington in larger sizes. Since then I've scaled it down, and it's adapted very well in the Northeast as an all-around trout pattern. I start off with a 7X Dictalure 2370 hook, and black uni thread, and I work my thread to the rear. And the first material you're going to tie in is the tail. I use moose body hair. I like the stiffness of the tail. It gives a profile of the same fish that we're replicating. It's not a marabou type tail. It's a stiffer tail. And I tie this tail about 1.5 gap length long. Trim off the excess. I've tried over the years to tie it, extending the hair all the way to the eye to avoid the transition, but I've found that I can just as well wrap around a transition, and it really doesn't have an effect on the pattern. And then I bring my thread back to the front, and next you're going to tie in your ribbing. This is gold tinsel. Tie it in on top, and then I bring it to the rear. Tie it on top because it helps with the transition. And then I bring the thread back to the front. And next you're going to tie in your mylar tinsel. Trying not to drop it because it goes all over the place. And you're going to tie this silver side up. And start your wraps. One in front of the other. You don't want to get any kinks in it on the trip down, but if you're a little bit sparse or you get a little gap, it's no big deal. You cover that up on the way back. And you bring it back. If there are any flaws, I very seldom ever go back and rewrap this pattern on the body. I mean, you're tying the body with flash. If there's a little flaw in the ribbing or in the Mylar, it really isn't going to affect this pattern. This is a pattern that you are applying the action to yourself, and it is a lot of flash. And it's mainly the flash that and the profile that you're looking for. So if you get a little gap in the Mylar or something's a little uneven, I really do not lose any sleep over it. I mean, I have pride in my own tying, but as far as fish catching ability, I don't worry about it too much. And then next you're going to bring your tinsel over. And you're just going to evenly wrap it. Not too close together. I don't want this all ribbing. Just keep it consistent. And tie it off at the head. And next you're going to tie in your throat. I use red dyed tippet for the throat. Used to use bucktail. I think this is a little bit easier to manage. It's more consistent and does the job. You don't want to overdo it, but you don't want to have too sparse of a throat. I turn mine over. Pinch wrap. If you have a full rotary, it's that much easier. Otherwise, I stand it up, pinch it in, and tie it off. At this point, I whip finish. I don't clip it, but I whip finish. Because I'm going to add just a small drop of head cement. I do this on most of my streamers in between stages. I feel it makes them more durable, and it helps the head remain manageable as well. Alright, the next material you're going to tie in is, I use blue super hair. I've used blue deer hair as well, but I found the super hair gives me what I need. You're not going to overdo it. You don't want too much. And you're going to extend it to the tip of the tail. So I measure it, clip it, and tie it in on top. Just enough to add some glint. And if I'm a little bit long, This is one of the only wing materials that I will trim, because it's already trimmed. The next material you're going to tie in is your black bucktail. I've used bear hair as well. Bear hair works very nice. If you can find it, sometimes the bear will be a little curlier than I wish it to be. But it's the same thing with bucktail. And I stack it by hand. I even it out. I don't overthink bucktail. If it's a hair that's giving me too much problem, or just doesn't want to line up right, then I get it out of there. And you do not want to apply too much hair in this pattern. And when you get your hair to where you want, and measure it. Want this to extend slightly past the tail and slightly past the super hair. Not much past, just a little bit. And once you get it in place, give some security wraps and build your head. I like a transitioned head. And we'd finish. I leave a sizable eye on this hook. I don't crowd the eye on it. I like the tapered eye, and I like space. And then I apply head cement. I use Sally Hansen's. I apply 2 coats. And 2 coats. Let this one dry. I rotate it a little bit to make sure it doesn't droop on me. And there it is. The Northwest Jack. Excellent smolt pattern. Amazing on Northeast trout. This pattern has done well for me on warm water species as well as trout. It's done large on Titan sizes 2/0. It has done very well for me on sea run cutthroat and steelhead in the Northwest. But this has become its home right here. Tied in size 8 7X long streamer hook. It has found its niche. It's been with me well over 20 years. The Northwest Jack. Hope it adds to your box. Thank you very much.